Now, this story about Abraham and his 400 years prophecy story is known by you very much. But I'd like to give you some background information about the Abrahamic prophecy, okay? Because since you are all teachers, it'll be far better for you to teach your people from the foundation, okay? Not just teaching them superficially, okay? And teach them profound foundation. Profound means very deep. Okay, to learn about that, I want to repeat in this lecture by the title called Abraham Received in His Dream. Okay, 400 years slavery prophecy. Then we will go over when did he receive it. Okay, then we will start from the Abraham's arrival in Canaan. Okay? He arrived in Canaan at the age of, 75. 75. Remember the Bible verses, Genesis 12, verse 4. Okay? I would say, prior to that age, he was not a so-called Christian. Okay? He didn't know much about Yahweh, God. So I would say that is the age where he became, in a New Testament connotations, Christians. Okay? He became a Christian at the age of 75. Now, he came down to Kanaan here. You see, he arrived in the first city. Remember that's Shechem. Okay? Bible verses are right here. Okay? Right here. And from there, he went down to Bethel. When he was in Bethel, try to memorize all this chronologically, okay, as a story. When he was in Bethel, the famine took place. Famine. Okay? It was God's design. Always God speaks through natural signs to tell people what He's going to do. And famine often causes moving people from one place to another. So the famine hit that area, Bethel. Because of the famine, Abraham and his wife Sarah went down to Egypt. See, they went down to Egypt here. Egypt, right here. From Bethel all the way down to Egypt. Bible reference there. Okay? Now, from Egypt, Egyptian king, I don't want to give you on detailed information. Okay? Egyptian king gave Abraham and his wife many gifts, cattle, including female slave. Now, At the time, we believe there is no such a Hagar name there, but we theologians, we believe at the time, Egyptian king gave Hagar to Sarah as Sarah's maid. But interestingly, this Hagar became a mother of Arab people. Later, Ishmael was born. Okay? So now, here, under Abraham, there are two kinds of people, Israelites and Arabs. So, Israelites came out of Sarah, and Arabs came out of Hagar. So in order to give Abraham, a Arab descendant, he actually sent him down to Egypt, okay, by way of famine. In order to have Hagar in his hand. It was God's design. It's always that kind of God's way of approaching, handling people applicable to our lives. Now they came back to Bethel along with the Hagar. So back to Bethel here. Now, from Bethel, he moved down to here, Hebron. But he did not stay in the downtown Hebron. He settled in an outskirt of Hebron. It's called Mamre. That's the land, the land owned by Mamre tribe. The land of Mamre. Mamre is one of the tribal names. Okay, so he settled in the land of Mamre, which is a little bit away from downtown Hebron. Later, Abraham purchased a Machpelah cave, where Abraham and his wife and Isaac and his wife and Jacob and his 3 wives buried. That's very well known. Okay, that 3 wives, but Rachel, the last wife, number 4 wives, buried in Bethlehem. So her tomb is exception, Rachel. Okay, but all others buried in here, Mamre. That is a place where cave of Machpelah locates, which Abraham purchased. Okay, in view of this, that this city, Hebron, is very interesting, okay, and significant city. Even today, many tourist people are visiting there to observe the Machpelah tomb. Now it's being occupied by Arab Palestinians. Now, he moved to Hebron, but now, when he was in Hebron, we studied that famous Middle East war took place. Middle East War. I don't want to give you more detail there. After the Middle East War, now, let me just explain to you a little bit. Middle East War is this. There's a war between, over here is a Sodom here. This is a Dead Sea. And Sodom area kingdom, there are about 4 or 5 kingdoms there. And this is the Persian Gulf. Persian Gulf. Persian Gulf area, you know, that area is Iran. Iran at that time we called it Elam. Elam. You guys call Elam. Iran. And all this Iran, Iraq, and Kuwait in this kingdom. There were 2 kingdoms. This kingdom and this kingdom had fighting. The reason is this Sodom area kingdom, Sodom area, we call it Dead Sea area kingdom, and this is a Persian Gulf area kingdom. Dead Sea area kingdom used to pay annual money to this kingdom, because this Persian Gulf kingdoms were stronger than here the other kingdom. But all of a sudden, these Sodom kingdom rejected. They all of a sudden changed their mind and reject their annual payment. Kind of rebelled against them. The Persian Gulf kingdom got mad at them, very, very angry at them. And they invaded right here and destroyed all this salt, you know, this Sodom area kingdoms. Now, in this kingdom, Lot, his nephew, Abraham's nephew, also was cut by them, arrested by them. He lost all his possessions by Persian kingdom because Lot lived in Sodom. Someone reported that story to Abraham. Abraham was in Hebron at the time. When he was in Hebron, someone in the battlefield went to Abraham, reported what had happened there. So Abraham, with his soldiers, 318, his own soldiers, participated in the war and pushed them all the way to near Damascus here, Syria, near Damascus. And Abraham claimed the victory in this battle, rescued his nephew Lot, rescued him. It was a big war. Okay? And on the way back to Abraham just arrived here in Jerusalem. On the back to Jerusalem. We call the Salem. I'm talking about the Genesis chapter 14 story here. Okay? And all of a sudden, one man by the name of Melchizedek, right here, Melchizedek appeared to greet. He is a king of Salem. Okay? Melchizedek appeared to Abraham and greeting him with the bread and wine. With the bread and wine. Okay. The Melchizedek in Hebrew, milk means a king. Melchi means king. Zedek means righteousness. So the king of righteousness. Melchi means king. And Zedek means righteousness. So that particular king's name is the king of righteousness. Okay? Now, then it's been very much in demand in designating who that particular king is. Now, in Hebrews chapter 7, you have to write down that Hebrews chapter 7 explained who the Melchizedek in this Genesis chapter 14. And it says that was incarnated Jesus Christ. Jesus temporarily, incarnated at that time as a human and as a king, Melchizedek, to greet Abraham, where in Salem, that is the Jerusalem. That story is in chapter 14 story. See now, you can see that Abraham was with Jesus at the time. You know, John chapter 8, verses 56, 59 says, John chapter 8, verses 56, 59 said, Jesus said to his people, I met Abraham. He said that. Even Jesus, when he came to this world as a human, during his public ministries, he said, I met Abraham 2,000 years ago. John chapter 8, verses 56, 59. You see, let me tell you, during the Old Testament time, Jesus often incarnated himself into human form and performed some of his duties. See, omnipotent God can do that. He does not have any limit. Now, after the visit Salem, he went back to Hebron. You have to memorize all this as a story, okay? He went back to Hebron where he settled. Now, when he was in Hebron, all of a sudden, the Yahweh appeared to him in his vision. Yahweh means Jesus. Okay? Jesus again appeared to Abraham in his vision. And showing him and telling him that Abraham, someday your descendants, at the time, he did not have any descendant, only he and his wife. Okay? Now, he said, someday your descendants will be enslaved in one country. It did not mention Egypt. Okay, slave in one country for 400 years. And also he said 4 generations. So 4 generations means 400 years. Okay. Then he said this, after the slavery ended, then your descendants will come back to this land. This land means Kanaan. Okay? This land means there was a specific indication that Israelites will come back to Kanaan here. Got it? Now, that prophecy I call is Abraham's prophecy, Abrahamic prophecy. Did I say it? It calls Abrahamic prophecy. Okay? Abrahamic prophecy. Let me repeat again. 400 years of slavery and thereafter coming back to land of Canaan. Okay? That's called Abrahamic prophecy. Now, see, Abraham, as you see here, he was born here, and he went to Kanaan at the age of 75 here. I have given you all these years, BC. Okay? Now, in order to fulfill, that prophecy, in order to fulfill that prophecy, you just write it down. Abraham kept that prophecy in him. Later, I would say, he must have told his son Isaac. How do I know? Later, how do I know? Later, Joseph, before his death, he said this. I came to this land of Egypt, because his Abraham is what? His grandfather or great-grandfather? Great-grandfather. Because my great-grandfather received that message. Because of that message, I am here now. He said that. And also, Isaac, my grandfather, knew about that. That's why I am here in Egypt. And later he said, even my father, Jacob, knew about that Abrahamic prophecy. But this is important part here. But these great-grandfather Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they did not know what country they will go. to write down. They did not know what country they will go. Then they did not know when this prophecy will happen. They did not know that. But now, later, here, Joseph told his brothers, okay, when his brothers came to Egypt, you know the story, okay? His brothers who sold Joseph, okay, felt very uneasy, very sorry for his younger brother Joseph. Okay? At the time, Joseph was a prime minister. And Joseph, all of a sudden, told his brothers, don't worry about your selling me to Egypt. It's not your fault. He said that. It's not your fault. It was predesigned by our God, Yahweh God. So, because of the Yahweh God's predesign, God just used you brothers, okay, to fulfill that God's design. Okay? To fulfill the God's design, you, my brothers, you sold me to Egypt. Okay? Therefore, according to God's plan, I became a prime minister. It was not because of I was a right person. Okay? Not because of I was a righteous person. It was God's precise plan. Therefore, my brothers, don't worry. Okay? Don't feel sorry to me. Here he said here, Genesis 45, verses 5 and 8. He said, so many times we often teach and preach Joseph that you should be like Joseph. He was a very honest man, very humble man. He prayed a lot, and he even rejected sexual temptations. You know, finally he became a high position in Egypt, prime minister. Therefore, you should be like Joseph. If you do that, if you act like a Joseph, you will be successful in your life. Like that. That's a very narrow aspect of understanding Joseph. Joseph was acting, he was an actor, okay, to fulfill the Abrahamic prophecy. Okay, so I try to just acknowledge you. Please have big picture. Okay, big picture starts from Abrahamic prophecy. Okay, this Abrahamic prophecy. This is a big picture. In order to fulfill that Abrahamic prophecy. Okay, all events in the lives of individual people took place. That also applicable to our lives. Okay, even today, all kinds of things are happening in your life and even in the lives of many Christians. Why? Because big picture is second coming of Jesus. Amen? Big picture is the second coming of Jesus. The second coming of Jesus, in order to fulfill the second coming of Jesus, God has called you, okay, and guiding you, and teaching you, all this. So your message should be focusing on the second coming of Jesus, okay, instead of how to live our life successfully, how to avoid this kind of COVID-19 problems. How can we find a better way to avoid COVID-19 and so on? These kind of things are very, very minor issues, sometimes away from major topic. Okay? Leading you to different direction as you read the Bible, and you lead your people to different direction from the original intention of what the Bible says. So, to fulfill that Abrahamic prophecy, okay, Joseph sold, okay, and while Joseph was in top prime minister position, 70 Israelites, whole family came down to Egypt, which is right here. Okay? Now, Joseph died. 30 years later, Joseph died. Okay? So during that 30 years period, the Israelites they were treated very well in the land of Goshen. Remember the map there? Over the map? It's a northern part of it's a fertile, Egypt. The southern part of Egypt is kind of a wilderness. It's a desert, desert shape. But only the northern part is a fertile area. And King Pharaoh, upon Joseph's request, allocated the land of Goshen, very fertile land, to Israelites. So there, 30 years, first 30 years, they were treated very nicely. But upon the death of Joseph, their slavery life started, which is the year 1846. In order to fulfill that Abrahamic prophecy, exact 400 years later, Exodus took place. Exodus, free from slavery. Isn't it interesting? Okay? So, whatever God's promise, that will be fulfilled. So this is a very short story, but try to memorize it in sequence, and the background, and about Joseph. Okay, Joseph was one of instruments in fulfilling the particular prophecy. Okay? Now, may God bless you. Let's have a break time.